Hello, all of you. Welcome to Happy Halloween on Mathline. Today, I am Ernie Roberts. You may call me the Grim Reaper for the afternoon. Welcome. We're glad to have you with us. We hope that you will enjoy our show. First, we must make it festive. So let's take care of business. Take the knife and let's do some work. Fix the jack. Fix it. Ooh, big eyes. Cut, slice, nice circles. And here's one. Let's go for two. Oh, around and around, there it goes. And two. Nose, recommended. Equilateral triangle. And we have one. Oh, how perfect can it be? Woo. And last but not least, the mouth. Sort of a trapezoid. But we have Jack with us here, and let me turn him around for all to see. Lighting up our world. There we go. Jack is there with us. Yeah! Now, let's do a little bit of math about Jack here, all right? Our first looking here, we are going to divide a fraction by a whole number. But first, before we do that, let's talk about his volume. Jack is sort of round. Looks like a spear. A sphere, excuse me. Spears go through you, don't they? Let's see, 11 inches this way. About 11 inches that way. Pretty close to a spear. So let's do some math. Surface area of a sphere equals 4 pi r squared. Our r is 5.5. Our pi, we're going to use 3.14 because it's easy. Let's pick up 5.5 and we'll square it. Folks, the sphere is 4 circles. So let's see what that gives us. How much surface area, if I ever wanted to paint poor old Jack here. Can y'all see Jack? Isn't he happy and smiling? Let's have some fun. Let's take the calculator on this one. 4 times 3.14 times 5.5. We're going to do it twice because it says square it. And wow, I get 379.94. That's a big pumpkin. Big pumpkin. And we will let that be square inches. That would take the bottom, that would take the top, that would take everything. Notice he's got a nice little head crown here. It's a good pumpkin. Weighed over 20 pounds when I picked it up this afternoon. Now, let's find its volume. How much is inside of it? Basically, there's nothing left inside it because I gutted it with my knife. Now, let's see where we're going on this volume. That is 4/3. Bring our pi friend back. R to the 3rd power. R cubed, if you will. R cubed, if you will. Now, put in your 3.14. We're going to play on the calculator. And we're going to take 5.5 and run it through 3 times. Three times. That's scary. But we can do it with a calculator. And let's see, we all want to do a divide by 3 when all is said and done. We'll take 1/3 of our result here. So let's see what we've got. A lot of numbers, a lot of scary numbers? Not really. That's why you're on Mathline today. You're wanting to find out all about the scary numbers. Let's see. Times 4. And then we will divide by 3. And my goodness, our volume, roughly 696.56. We'll take it to 2 decimal places. And that is cubic inches. Once again, you're watching Mathline. Don't call in today. This is not a college show. We're going to have fun. It's Halloween. And this is for those of you who are getting ready to go out and go trick-or-treating. We are going to take you back to an older time when people used to bob for apples. No, there are no brains inside here. But there are apples, so watch how it works. The apple is floating on water because it has low density. Now, density is a math question. Math, not math, but mass divided by volume will give you the density. That's why the apple floats. It has a lower density than water. So let me go in for it. The idea, you pick it up and you try to not get too wet because I have a microphone attached to me, but you give it and you put it in, pick it out with your teeth, and then what we're going to do is what my trusty director tells me to do. It's time for our first slate. Bring it on, my friend. Thank you. We're going to divide a fraction by a whole number. But to get to a fraction, we have to start with a whole. So here we go. Trusty knife. Clean it off. Here we go. Let's cut this thing in half. Oh, be careful. This should not be done without parents watching you at home. And we cut. And here's the deal. We have taken a rational number, 1, and we have divided it by 2. I have a half and a half. So the story on this, dear friends, watching at home, is you get 1/2. Now, let's take this half and let's divide it with my knife in 2. We now have 2 smaller pieces. And let's see what we get. We take 1/2 divided by 2, and you have 1/4. Take a look at the apple. Now you say, that doesn't look right. You've got a 2 and you've got a half. It should be a 1. No. Let's look. Let's take a look. Because what we need to do is take our 1/2 and we multiply by the reciprocal. Now we'll put a 1 underneath that 2 to make it a little less scary to all of us. So let's do the reciprocal. 1/2 times 1/2, and that, my friends, is how you get to 1/4 if you don't have apples to cut in half. Well, let's go one more notch here. We've got apples going all over the place here. Let's pick up 1/4. Divide it by 2. Here we go. Trusty knife. This is getting smaller. Have the hospital ready. All right, let's see. There we go. Two pieces. And I now have smaller pieces, which are eighths. So we get 1/8. You said, you have an eighth because I count 8 pieces that I have when I've cut all these pieces into this whole apple into 8 pieces. So let's see why. Why does it work? Well, here we go. You got 1/4. We're going to multiply it by 1/2. Because that's what happens when you divide by 2, you multiply by 1/2. And that will give us the value of 1/8. Now, you've seen how to take a fraction and divide it by a whole number. That was the first slate. My director did wonderfully on that. Hopefully you're following me also. Let's go to the next slate, Mr. Director. I don't have apples to throw at people, but let's suppose I want to move the whole number to the front. For example, I have 3 apples, and I'm going to take halves of all of them. So this is the story. 3 divided by a half. All right. That could be scary if you're not alert to what's going on. This is like I have 3 apples. Apples are sort of round. There's another one. There's another one. And you're also telling me they're sort of red. So let's make them red a little bit here. That red is not going through as well as I want it to. Well, it's red. They're red. Very red. Now, let's put a stem on them. Now, what color for a stem? Why not orange? Here we go. Have a stem, have a stem. So, we have 3 apples here. We're going to divide them into halves. So, right down the middle, my knife goes slash, 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 cut, cut, cut. And if you'll notice, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. Not 6 apples, but 6 pieces. Because what we're doing, we're saying we're going to divide each of the 3 apples in half. What that means is we're going to play the reciprocal game. We're going to put a 1 under our 3, and we're going to reverse. We're going to multiply by 2 over 1. And when we multiply by 2 over 1, notice we have 6. And if you notice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. So when we cut those 3 apples into halves, we come up with 6 pieces. Now, if I wanted to cut them into fourths, oh my goodness, not as much apple for everybody. But we cut into 4. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if I take this same 3 and divide it by 1/4, that simply says I would say 3 times 4 over 1, which gives me 12 pieces. 12 pieces I can share with all my friends. Jack would probably like that too. Now, let's see what else we can do with a whole number and a fraction. We can play with it a little bit. Let's see what's happening. Well, let's go to 2 fractions, because if you can do whole numbers, you can do 2 fractions. So let's look at 3 divided by 8. That's 3/8 to all of you. Divided by 1/4. Jack, how are you doing over there? Doing good today, I hope. All right. Now, we're going to take our rule. You said, we had a rule? We had a rule. We're going to pick up 1/4 and use its reciprocal. So here we go. 3/8 times 4 over 1. Oh, guess what? It's like multiplying fractions, which we learned on another show. Not when we were for Halloween, but certainly on another show. Now, let's see what happens. Big numbers, scary numbers. 3 times 4 is 12. 8 times 1 is 8. You may not want to do that. Let's do this. Let's cancel. Ooh, slash time again, slash, slash. Let's slash 4, because 4 will divide into 4 evenly 1 time. 4 into 8 will go 2 times. We end up with 3 over 2. 2, I like that. Like that, Jack? Yeah. And we can reduce that to 1 and 1/2. 1 and 1/2. So again, the reciprocal, always of the second. Never do the first. Leave the first one alone. Leave the reciprocal ready to go. Let's try one where we have 5/8 divided by 1/5. Now Now, looking at that, you're going like, ooh, we could go slash, slash. No, we can't. What we've got to do first is to take and make a reciprocal happen. Reciprocal of the second term only, not of the first. So we've got 5/8 multiplying it by 5/1. And there's no slashing. You can't slash across. You can only slash diagonally or up and down. Right, Jack? Right, Jack. Now, let's see what we've got here. We've got 5 times 5, 25. Put that over your 8. Looks rather intimidating. So let's do this. Let's divide 8 into 25, and we'll see what we come up with. That's a mixed number. Divide our 8 into 25. It goes 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. Left with 1. We put the 1 over the 8, and we have a wonderful mixed number. No slash on this one, but still fun anyway. All right. Now, we've had fractions and fractions. We've had whole numbers. Let's see if we can make mixed numbers happen in here. So how about it? 3 1/2. We'll divide that by 2 1/4. Now, that's sort of like I am dividing 3 by 2, so I know this number is bigger than 1. But it's not going to be as big as 2. I can estimate a little bit. So once again, you may be out there a little bit afraid of this, but we're going to make it easy for you to figure out. We need 2 fractions. We need 3 1/2 to become magic. Right, Jack? Let's say 3 times 2, add on the 1, and you will have 7/2. Now, let's divide. 2 1/4, magic again. 2 times 4 is 8. We add 1 to it, and we have 9/4. Perfect. We're ready to work this problem out. Don't slash yet. You can't. We use the reciprocal. 7/2 times 4/9. Now we can slash the fractions. Not the 7 and 9. Nothing goes into 7 that will go into 9 and vice versa. But we do have a little action here with 2 and 4. Slasher movie number 2, 4. There we go. 2 goes into 2, 2 goes into 4, 2 times. 1 and 2, smaller. Equals, let's multiply. 7 times 2 is 14. 1 times 9 is 9. It's 9. And we can divide 9 into that big number 14. And we have going 1 time, going once. 1 times 9 is 9. You have a big 5 left over. How do we write that? We bring that 5 left over. There it comes, yes. And we put it over the 9, because that's what we're dividing by. So our value here, 1 5/9. And there you have it. A nice 2 mixed fractions in division. Now, what the big thing to remember is improper. Make them improper first, then you can have your way with things like 1/8 and 1/2 and sometimes 3/2 or 5/4 or things like that. But they'll be nice and they can be worked through. Let's do a mixed number and a whole number. Again, don't slash the 5s. We can drive a 1 underneath there, but don't slash the 5s. Now, let's fix 4 1/5. 4 times 5 will get us 20. Add the 1, You get 21 over 5. Don't reciprocal yet. We'll do that in a minute. We have 5 over 1. Notice, again, we can't slash. Ooh, I want to slash, but I can't. All right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep 21 over 5, and we're going to make a reciprocal of the second one. Right, Jack? Right, Jack. Times 1 over 5. And no slashing, no slashing. But here we get 21 over 25, because 5 times 5 is 25, and there it works. You know, Jack always has a good spirit. He's happy, he smiles. He's a good sidekick today. He's very good, and he agrees with everything I say. I appreciate you, Jack. Thank you. Some say you don't know Jack, but I do. He's good. He's good. Now, let's do a couple of more here for practice, and folks, you will be able to do division of fractions to your heart's content this Halloween night as you go out and divide your candy that you're going to get trick-or-treating, and dividing that candy into thirds and halves, and actually you'll probably eat the whole thing, but let's play a little bit more here. Let's say we've got 12 pieces of candy, and you're going to divide them 24 ways. I don't know if you could do that. Let's try it. Maybe you've got 24 friends with you tonight, and you're going to split your candy. Boy, you're a nice person to split all that candy. I doubt it'll happen. But this is just like saying 12. Oh, I love those speckles. Times reciprocal. Oh, reciprocal. Need to put a 1 under the 24. And so we will use reciprocal 1 over 24. It is tempting. It is so tempting because we're going to slash away here. A lot of slashing going on. 12 will divide into 12. 12 will divide into 24. That'll go 1 time, 2 times. We get a half. We get 1/2. You could also have done this. You could have made that into just a pure division with fractions. And 12 over 24, there it is. You could slash it vertically. Remember, just don't do it horizontally. That will give you 1/2. 1/2. Now, as we get closer to the end here, I do want to make sure one important thing. You all safely trick or treat. Be sure that you wear protective gear. You may not be able to light up like Jack, but you can wear those reflective shoes, reflective pieces on your costume, so you will be alive to watch Mathline on Monday at 6 o'clock and call in your questions. Yes, we will. Let's finish up with one more note here. How about 3 1/5 divided by 1 2/5? My goodness, some big numbers. Not really, they're good numbers. We're going to slash in a minute, but not yet. Let's see. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1, which gives us 16 over 5. Remember that? 3 times 5, add the 1. Keep the division going. We need to make this into 7. How did I get 7? Well, let's see. 1 times 5 is 5 plus 2, and we'll have 7 over 5. No slash yet. No slash. Can't slash. But what we are going to do is reciprocal. We'll pick 16 over 5 times 5 over 7. And one more time for slashing. 5 and 5 go away. We've got 16 over 7. We will find out what does that reduce to. We will divide it. Divide it. One more time. Division of fractions. 7 into 16 goes 2 times. Gives us 14. 2 left over. 2 2/7. Happy Halloween from Mathline.